Hello, everyone. Today I'm with my colleague, amazing colleague, Marie Fraser. And she has made an amazing list of all the things we can do while on lockdown. And so, Marie, welcome and explain us more about your amazing list.
Okay. Hi, Janine. Thank you so much for having me here. And hello, everyone listening in now or listening in later on the replay. Yes. The reason I put this list together is very, very amusing because I'm in the middle of buying a house. And I was talking to my lawyer last week because there's some legalities, some problems with it's a flat I'm trying to buy. And I don't know this lawyer, I've never met her, but we've been speaking for several weeks on the phone or with email. And it took them a while because, obviously they're all working from home now and they're not going into the office. And she sort of said to me, I'm sorry that I was slow in getting back to you on a particular point. She said, I'm just trying to get used to working from home. And she said, it was really funny. I worked in my pajamas yesterday and I got absolutely nothing done. She said it was just, the day was just a disaster. And I said, oh, no. I said, you must never do that. I said, you have to treat your house as though you are going to work. So I thought, wow, how many other people are struggling to actually divorce the home from work? And so I thought it would be a good idea to put together some tips that I've used since I've been working from home for several years now, so I'm quite used to it. And I thought it would be good to share for those people who are forced to work from home, what I do to, get my work head on and then take my work head off and put my home head on. So here, there are 20. I will go. I think what might be a good idea, Janine, if I just sort of give the heading and then a little description, but if you perhaps want, more if you think I should be more in depth, then just say so. But
Perfect.
Otherwise, because there's 3 pages of my my tips here.
Or if you want, we can do like 5 or 10 today. And then if you want, we can have another call where you say another 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yeah. So not to overwhelm everybody with all 20. I'll give you probably about 5 and then we can do another call. So I think the most important thing is to get dressed, but not to get dressed in, jogging pants or, sweats, as we like to call them, but actually get dressed in the clothes that you would normally go to work. Because there's something happens neurologically and physiologically when we present ourselves in work mode. Mm-hmm. In that, when we've got, so for example, if you are a lawyer or an accountant and you're working from home now, if you wear a jacket, shirt and trousers, or you wear a skirt and a jacket, then continue to do that at home, because it will put you subconsciously in the mindset of going to work. And I can remember when I was working in the corporate world I started in the corporate world in the late 70s, so I've been around the block a few times. And when I worked for the Americans, in London, they were wanting to introduce this, dress down Friday. Mm-hmm. And I was so against it. And they said, no, we do this. So I was sort of overruled at a sort of a board meeting. And I can honestly tell you that the mindset and productivity on a Friday was really substantially down. And it didn't last very long in the UK. They continue to do it in the States, but certainly in the London office, I think we lasted for about a month. And then we just decided this wasn't a good idea. And, I'll be honest with you, even everybody in the office, you know, they decided there was no big deal when we said, actually, we're scrapping this. It was almost like a relief, because you know what, on a Friday they had to think about what they were going to wear to the office, rather than just putting on their, in inverted commas, uniform to come to work.
Yeah.
So yeah, getting dressed and getting dressed in the clothes that you would normally go to work in is very important. And the other thing is to set up a morning routine. So if you are working from home, you're now not commuting. So you've got some spare time, and you know, you could fill that spare time productively. You could stay in bed for an extra half an hour, or you could go you know, and cook yourself a healthier breakfast. Make yourself a healthier breakfast. You could do some exercises, all sorts of things. So getting into a routine of, okay, you know, get up, do what you normally do as though you were going into an office, and you know, then sort of almost say to yourself, okay, this is me now, I'm going to work, and off you go into whichever room you've designated as your workspace. Which is another very top tip, is to put aside some space in your house where you work. I certainly don't recommend the living room, and I don't recommend the bedroom. I mean, you might be short of space, you know, if you are living in or sharing a flat or what have you with people, then, you know, you've got to respect other people in the house. But, you know, the bedroom is a place of recuperation and rest. And I think if you're in that room and you can see work, you know, the computer or files or what have you, again, it's sort of one of those situations where you're subconsciously then not really resting. You're thinking about the work that needs to be done, or perhaps you didn't do that day. Similarly, in your lounge, you know, when you've finished work, you don't want to be sitting staring at your you know, at your workspace. I mean, it may well be easy to cover it up or just sweep it away. You know, if you've just got a laptop or what have you, you could just pack everything up and put it sort of to one side, so you're not, you know, you're not looking at all that sort of thing. So those are, that, you know, important things is to set space aside designated for working, and not in the bedroom or the living room if you can help it. I mean, you know, we've all got different sources. I mean, I'm actually in my mother's dining room at the minute, so you know, we've all got, you know, we're all trying to sort of, you know, make some space. Another critical thing I do believe is to be kind to ourselves, because these are massive changes, okay? And because it is a change, you know, humans don't like change. You know, we like to have the status quo, and we like to sort of, you know, we've got our habits. So this situation that's going on right now and being forced to work from home is a massive, massive change. And, you know, your thoughts and brain are trying to catch up with what's going on. And it's also, if you've got lots of people around you, you know, the kids are at home because there's no school, and, you know, your partner's trying to homeschool, or maybe you're trying to homeschool and also work at the same time, then, you know, it's really important to manage your self-care, because the change and everything else that's happening can, you know, start to create stress and cause stress for you. So one of the things, or some of the things that I always do, I did when I first started working from home, is one, you know, it's really important to try and be as comfortable as possible. So, you know, if you're on a chair or working at a space that's really giving you a backache or what have you, then have a word with your employer. And if you've got a great employer, they're probably already on that. You know, speak to human resources, because, you know, we don't know how long we're going to be working from home for. And if you're you know, if you're working on your dining room chair, for example, or table, and it's giving you backache, then that's, you know, that's not good for you in the long term. So try and make sure that the chair and the desk, etc., are as ergonomically friendly as possible to avoid, you know, aches and pains starting and then, you know, keeping. saying that also is to every hour get up and walk around, you know, have a good stretch, walk around. I don't know, I mean, I love to have a cup of tea on the go most times. So, you know, I do get up regularly to, you know, have a fresh cup of tea. And, you know, while I'm waiting for the kettle, I'm doing side stretches, you know, and just sort of doing all that sort of thing just to loosen everything up. Because, you know, if we're going to be sat down, I mean, this you should carry on when you go back to work in the office. You shouldn't be sat in your seat all the time. You should get up and, you know, walk around and have a good stretch. So that's really, really important. Let me see what else is on my list. Yes, the need to exercise. The other thing is to make sure you eat. You know, it's easy when you're in the office, you know, you can see colleagues, or colleagues might knock on your door and say, you know, do you fancy lunch? Pop out for a sandwich, get some air and what have you. When you work from home, you're very isolated, you're on your own. So you're not having those triggers of watching your colleague going for lunch, or, you know, they come knocking on your door or giving you a shout, you know, do you fancy some lunch? So it's really important to have some lunch, and preferably not, probably like you do at the office, sit at your desk having your lunch. Move away, and just, even if it's only a sandwich, you know, sit down and, you know, eat it and enjoy it, and then go back, you know, have another walk round and a stretch and what have you. And it's also important to keep hydrated, because again, I mean, this is something that you could take back to the office, especially, you know, at the moment, the weather's still cool. So, you know, you've probably got the heating on because you're working from home. That tends to dehydrate you. Air conditioning definitely dehydrates you when you're in the office. So, you know, try and stay hydrated. And, you know, if you do get a headache, most of the time it's because you are dehydrated. So if you've got a sort of a glass of water on your desk or near you that you can, you know, sip at in between having your cups of tea or coffee, and, you know, replenish it when you get up every hour. You know, if you can drink a glass of water almost every hour, then, you know, you're going to be in good shape. What else can for the, you know, even for the guys, I think to sort of luxuriate in a bubble bath is just great. You know, if you're sat on a chair that's not feeling very comfortable or what have you, and we can all hunch over our PCs, you know, to get in a bath and just really sink down with lots of bubbles and what have you, and, you know, go mad and light a few candles. You know, it doesn't have to take all evening. You can just spend half an hour, but that could be the time for you, where you can just forget about everything that's going on. You know, have some nice music, or, you know, just try some meditation or just quiet time. And, you know, be conscious of the thoughts that are running through your head, and just, you know, let them go. I highly recommend that. And I think I know I'm talking about sort of getting up and doing some stretching and exercise, but I think also it's good to exercise every day. I mean, I would imagine now that there is a run on yoga mats and, you know, yoga videos, or downloading from YouTube. I mean, because everything of mine is in storage, I've actually bought a new yoga mat. I've downloaded some programs. There is a website called Daily Om. That's daily as in daily, and Om, O-M. They have got the most amazing exercise videos, really, really good. They're very short, you know, it's not a massive program. They target various parts of your body, and also you pay what you want. So I think there's a choice of either 10, 20 or 30 pounds. You can pay 10 pounds. You don't have to, you know, pay any more than that. It gets downloaded. And what I do is I watch them on my phone while I'm on my yoga mat. While I'm on my yoga mat. So really, there's no excuse not to do any exercise. It could be part of your morning routine. I know it's not the same as going out and getting some air, but you know, if you're a jogger or something like that, or that's the thing that floats your boat. But it really is, especially because we've got all these thoughts going through our head, and with what's going on, etc., etc. It's all so strange. It's all so new. And we can, these sorts of thoughts and worries can manifest in our body.
Yes.
If we don't allow ourselves to sort of, shake it all out and get rid of it. I think that is. Oh yeah, I think also if you have spare time, one of the things from working from home, it's a sort of a bit of a double-edged sword. People think that it can be, oh, you lucky thing, you can get to do, whatever it is you want. But, in this situation where you're forced to work from home, you are still doing your work, and there can be a tendency to forget what time it is.
Yeah.
Especially when you're not going out very much. You may be going out for your sort of walk, exercise. You may not be going out at all, or you might not be going out every day. It might just be for groceries, etc. So you can totally lose track of time. And again, when you're not in the office, you are reminded when colleagues or whoever are leaving work for the end of the day. Whereas when you're at home, you don't have that trigger. So just be very mindful of how long you've been sat doing your work, and be strict with yourself. Have a cutoff. Whatever hours you normally work in the office, then work them from home. Don't get carried away and think, oh my God, it's now 7:30. I didn't realize it was 7:30. Which is very easy to do, especially if you don't have any distractions at home. I know I used to be the same, so I know that it can be very easy to be distracted. And actually, I'll finish on this particular one, is not to blur the work-home boundaries. Is to keep the two totally separate. So, for example, if you're having lunch, if it's your lunch break, don't go off and think, I'll, put the washing in, I'll do this, I'll do that. Because if you were at work, you wouldn't be able to do the laundry. You wouldn't be able to, I'm just going to go and fix that, whatever that I've been meaning to fix forever. And that's what I mean about blurring the work-home boundaries. Don't do things during the day that you wouldn't be able to do if you were at work. I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And Marie, why do you think it's so important to keep the same habits? What's the thing that tricks in our mind to keep the habits and regularity?
Because I think if you're not sort of saying to yourself, this is my work, you can become totally it is tricking the mind to a certain extent, but you can become totally disorganized if you are not keeping these boundaries. Then you may decide, oh, actually, I'm going to have the morning off because I'll work tonight. I'll do my work tonight. And would you do that if you were working during the day? Probably not. And so it's very easy to sort of have no structure. And, we are creatures of habit.
Yes.
We'd like to know what we're doing at a particular time on a particular day. So, for example, it's a bit like the disruption if you are a shift worker. So, you do 1 week of days and another week of nights. I mean, that really does disrupt, that sort of massive change is a huge disruption. And there's all sorts of, scientific evidence that it's not good for us physiologically and mentally either. Although, I know people that, do that. But, to keep into the routine of doing what you've always done, i.e. when you go to work, then it keeps you sort of focused. And, it allows you to actually keep the home boundaries and the work boundaries and not sort of cross them. That's what I truly believe.
I agree with you, absolutely. Because at the beginning, when I started my own business, oh, I can work wherever I want, and personal life and work were all blurred together. Oh, there is nothing interesting television, let me work. And then I will, at day 10, I will be completely burned out, where I will not be able to do anything. My brain was like literally shut down. And so I learned the hard way to give these boundaries. But of all the lists you have said, I am still guilty of working from the sofa. And then I get all the neck pain, and I keep doing it. Even if I know it's wrong, I keep doing that. It's bad for the posture, bad for my neck, and it's like it's not natural to. So guys, do not work from a sofa.
No, and it's interesting because I'm sort of from that age where when I first started to work, there was no such thing as computers. In the 70s, there wasn't, computers. There wasn't even word processing machines when I first started to work in the late 70s. But I can honestly tell you that, and it sounds awful, but there will be such a price to pay later on in life for aches and pains, and really huge musculoskeletal problems, by permanently having your head down like this, because we're not built for that.
Yeah.
It's like when I walk around, when we can walk around in the street, and you see people on the phone that aren't
Yeah.
watching where they're going. You see them on the tube, everything's down,
Yeah.
and you just think, oh my God, in 10 years time, you are going to be in so much agony there, because it's almost as though the head is, you get into that position and it doesn't really move from there. So it could end up, that being your, what's the word I'm looking for? That's your normal. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? All of
Yeah.
a sudden, that's your normal. And, the muscles are not, the head is very heavy. And
Yes.
so, all these muscles in your neck need to be very strong to keep it up. But if you're like that all the time, you're not using these muscles.
Mm,
I mean,
very true.
there are, chiropractors, osteopaths, rolfing technicians, and physical therapists. They could probably write a thesis on why you shouldn't do it.
Yes. And there are some theories. People say that in 50 years, people will look back at our era and they think, what were these people thinking? Will be the new smoking.
Exactly. No, I think it's right. Yeah, it will be the new smoking. Absolutely. Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Marie, thank you ever so much for today. And you're an RTT therapist as me, and what do you specialize, and how can people reach you?
Okay. Yes, I trained with Janine actually in RTT therapy. I'm also a life coach, and I work the two together. And my speciality is self-confidence and rebuilding lives from not from trauma, but from my own personal experience. I rebuilt my life, reinvented myself, and I feel I'm very well placed to help people who have gone through huge life changes, which have affected their confidence and self-esteem, and having to rebuild their lives and reinvent themselves. And it's quite easy to contact me. My name is Marie Fraser, and my website is mariefraser.com.
That's amazing. And she has this list on PDF format, so if you need, you can contact her directly. And we are going to chat soon, so we are going to go through the other points of the list.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I'll be
Awesome.
delighted to do that.
Awesome. Amazing. Thank you very so much, Marie, for today, and talk to you soon. Thanks.
Okay, my pleasure. Thank you so
Bye,
much, Janine.
everyone.
Bye-bye. Bye.